In the heart of Southeast Asia, a small island nation stands out as a beacon of prosperity, Singapore. With a GDP per capita surpassing $100,000 and unemployment rates hovering below 2%, Singapore has transformed itself into an economic powerhouse, leaving many wondering, how did they do it? So is it possible for other Southeast Asian nations like the Philippines, Malaysia and Vietnam to replicate Singapore's remarkable success? Join us as we delve into the factors that propelled Singapore to the top and explore why its neighbours are far behind it. To comprehend Singapore's economy, it's essential to quickly examine its past. Back in the 18th century, Singapore swiftly became a significant spot for trade because it was situated in the middle of a vital route connecting Asia and Europe. The island's strategic position between India, China and Southeast Asia attracted the attention of competing colonial powers, the Dutch and the British, who vied for control. The Anglo-Dutch Treaty of 1824 solidified Singapore as a British territory and transformed it into a key naval base for the Western British Empire in the Far East. As a crown colony, the island experienced peace, stability and infrastructural development, drawing in migrants and resulting in rapid population growth. Jumping ahead to more recent times, following the dissolution of the British Empire and the grant of self-governance to its colony, Singapore joined with Malaya, Sabah and Sarawak to form the Malaysian Federation in September 1963. However, a mere 2 years later, Singapore was ousted from the Federation mainly due to political and racial differences, among other factors. This expulsion left Singapore in a challenging situation marked by racial tensions, an unstable economy, poverty and a high rate of unemployment. Fortunately, Singapore found a capable leader in Harry Lee Kuan Yew, who guided the newly independent country. Influenced by his education in the West and expertise in economics and trade, Lee understood the fundamental importance of law, stability and maintaining positive relationships with major international corporations. For Singapore, its advantageous location isn't the only factor contributing to its success. While other neighbouring countries might have geographic proximity, they didn't achieve the same level of success as Singapore. Unlike some of its neighbouring countries that aim to distance themselves from their colonial pasts, Singapore maintained strong connections with Britain even after gaining independence in 1965. This choice signalled to the world that Singapore was open for business. Alongside its advantageous location and positive foreign relations, Singapore's initial achievements were credited to effective governmental strategies. Recognizing the significance of a business-friendly atmosphere, the government concentrated on constructing affordable public housing to tackle the housing crisis prevalent at that time. Singapore grappled with one of the largest slum settlements globally, lacking basic sanitation and services. In the 1960s, merely 9% of the population resided in public housing, but presently that figure exceeds 80%. Additionally, the government advocated for stronger employers' rights to reduce labour strikes. Simultaneously, the government offered tax incentives to entice foreign investment. To allure crucial foreign direct investment, Singapore diligently fought against corruption and streamlined the process of conducting business, aspects that remain equally pertinent today. Apart from this, Singapore holds a position among the world's most business-friendly locations, attracting substantial investments from multinational corporations into its manufacturing sector. According to the World Bank, the country stands as the third largest recipient globally for net foreign direct investment, FDI inflows, surpassing India's by more than double and Japan's by nearly triple. Recognizing early on that the nation lacked significant natural resources, Singapore understood that its true wealth lay in its people. Embracing the influx of foreign investment, Singapore capitalized on the knowledge transfer facilitated by these international corporations. Through national strategies, the government established technical schools and sponsored workforce upskilling programs in fields like electronics and petrochemicals. This approach facilitated Singapore's transformation from low-skilled textile exports in the 1970s to diverse industries such as aerospace engineering, semiconductors, petrochemicals and biotechnology by the 1990s. Singapore's education system plays a pivotal role in its current economic prosperity. The country consistently achieves top rankings in international standardized tests and boasts the world's highest human capital index at 0.88. This index reflects that a child born today is projected to be 88% as productive by the age of 18, indicating robust healthcare and education systems that contribute significantly to its robust and expanding economy. Besides benefiting from its advantageous location, Singapore evolved into a regional hub during the 1980s. This involved offering services on behalf of neighbouring countries and serving as an entry point for international corporations aiming to operate in the region. Singapore hosts one of the world's largest seaports, ranking second globally in volume following Shanghai, and claiming the top spot for transshipment, facilitating cargo transfers before reaching final destinations. Similarly, Singapore's airport operates as a connecting hub for regional flights worldwide. Transitioning from a regional hub for multinational firms in the Asia-Pacific to its prominence in seaports and airports, all these aspects contribute to Singapore's ability to leverage network effects. This denotes the country's capability to provide a high frequency of travel options, essential for establishing itself as a hub that fosters as a self-reinforcing cycle of network effects. Singapore's tourism benefits significantly from this development as its infrastructure continues to enhance. Despite lacking resources like petroleum, this small city-state boasts one of the largest oil refineries in the region, emphasizing its role as a regional service provider. Leveraging its strategic location positions Singapore to export resources sourced from foreign nations. Refined petroleum products constitute Singapore's second largest export, making it the world's fourth largest player, surpassing major oil-producing neighbouring countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia and Thailand. Primarily fueled by export-driven industrialization and significant government intervention, Singapore diversified its economy from manufacturing to finance, insurance, tourism, and other services. Analysing Singapore's GDP growth reveals two substantial surges, one commencing in the late 1980s and another at the start of the new millennium. Ironically, Singapore experienced a downturn in 1985, marking its first post-independence recession, promoting the implementation of new measures. State-owned enterprises like telecommunications were privatized to enhance competitiveness. Subsequently, service industries like finance and insurance underwent further liberalization at the turn of the century. This openness contributed to elevating the service sector's share from 24% of GDP in 1985 to over 70% in 2017. Multinational companies established regional headquarters in Singapore, attracting larger players, consequently bolstering Singapore's appeal to corporations and consequently augmenting its GDP. Singapore has garnered acclaim for swiftly transitioning from a developing to a developed economy. However, does this translate into a sense of affluence among most Singaporeans? Not quite. The reasons behind this can be consolidated into two primary factors. Firstly, the exorbitant cost of living stands out prominently. For 5 consecutive years, Singapore has earned the title of the world's most expensive city, surpassing New York and London. This is largely attributed to high taxes on automobiles, rendering Singapore the costliest place globally to purchase and maintain a car. Additionally, it holds the 3rd position worldwide in terms of clothing expenses. Secondly, Singapore exhibits relatively high levels of inequality compared to other developed nations. Utilizing the Gini coefficient, a measurement scale for assessing inequality, Singapore's Gini coefficient stood at 0.35 in 2017 after factoring in taxes and transfers, indicating notable disparities within the society. Singapore's Gini coefficient placed it behind countries such as the United Kingdom, Japan, Korea and Germany in terms of inequality, although it performed better than some developed nations like the United States. Despite Singapore's high GDP per capita, the median monthly salary stands at USD 3,270, which seems reasonable. However, 20% of this sum is mandated for a compulsory savings scheme known as the Central Provident Fund, a vital component shaping the wealth of Singaporean citizens. While this fund serves specific purposes like covering medical expenses, housing and education, it does limit the populace's purchasing power. Singapore's economic triumph is indisputable, primarily credited to effective governance encompassing housing initiatives, public savings schemes, pro-business policies, and the nation's populace. Like any country, whether developing or developed, Singapore grapples with its own set of challenges. Of utmost importance is how the government addresses these challenges for the welfare of its people and how citizens support their government, transcending political and racial disparities. That's it for today. And now we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Do subscribe to the channel if you like our content, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye.